Okay, we're looking at factoring this binomial, and this is a little bit more complicated when a is something other than 1. And so we're looking specifically at this one. With the binomial, we're looking at a two-part expression times a two-part expression. We'll kind of get to that in just a little bit. But the first thing that we're going to do when we're factoring a binomial is we're going to multiply a times c. Okay? Well, a is my number in front of the m squared, b is the number in front of just the m, and c is my constant. That's my last term. So a is 4, so we're going to go 4 times negative 3. 4 times negative 3 would give me negative 12. Okay, so now we've got our negative 12 here. I'm going to try to determine what two numbers will multiply together to give me a negative 12, but when we add them together will give me a positive 1. So I've got to kind of go through, and you can do your guessing and checking to see if it will work. The answer that you should come up with should be a positive 4 and a negative 3. Okay. Now that we know those, I'm going to rewrite this original expression here. 4m squared plus 4m minus 3m minus 3. And what I basically did is I took this right here. This is a positive 4, so I plugged it in right here for 4. This one's a negative 3. I plugged it right in here for negative 3. If we were to combine these two, 4m minus 3m gives me just plain old m. And the reason why I grouped these two together is because I know that 4 and 4 share a common factor, and 3 and 3 share a common factor. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this first section right here and put those in parentheses. So I've got 4m squared plus 4m. Okay, now the common factor that those two share together is 4m. So I'm going to factor that out of the first part, 4m. If I were to take a 4m out of 4m squared, that leaves me with just an m. And then if I were to take a 4m out of 4m, that would leave me with a positive 1, m plus 1. Okay, now the second one here I'm going to section off as well. Negative 3m minus 3. And that one I see that they share a 3 in common, but a 3 won't get me. I need to make sure that what's inside the parentheses is the exact same as the one I've got over here, so it's got to be m plus 1. If I take a 3 out, that's going to leave me a negative m minus 1. That won't work. So I'm going to actually have to factor out a negative 3 on this one. So if I do that, minus 3, if I take a negative 3 out of negative 3m, that leaves me with just plain old m. And if I take a negative 3 out of negative 3, that leaves me with a positive 1. And this is the crucial part with these, is we've got to make sure whatever's left inside the parentheses is exactly the same. Now then, we take what's outside of the parenthesis, we'll underline that in blue, and we create a binomial out of that. So that would be 4m minus 3. And I got that right here, 4m minus 3. I just wrote that right down here. So that's my first binomial. And my second binomial is whatever's left on the inside of the parentheses. Right here, that's m plus 1. So m plus 1. So my factored form on this particular one is right there, 4m minus 3 times m plus 1. If we wanted to, we could always FOIL these, multiply them together, back in, and it will always equal this original problem if we've done it correctly.